I'm Bill McKenna, out on the road for NineStar Connect. I'm on the road to the Indianapolis Zoo. I'm talking to Carla Knapp, who's in public relations here. And what can you tell us about the goings-on here at the zoo? I know a lot of people think that the zoo is a spring and summer place, but we kind of, as we know, it's year-round. So what can people expect to do about this time of year here at the zoo?
This is an absolutely great time to come to the Indianapolis Zoo. This type of weather is going to be wonderful because the animals enjoy it a little bit more. It's not too warm, it's not too cold, and so you might see animals being a little bit more active at this time of year than they even would be in the summer. And actually, as we have lighter crowds at this time of year, you can expect some more personal interactions with our animals as well.
So Carla, you told me earlier you've been here about 4 years. How did you find your way to the Indianapolis Zoo?
Well, I actually came from the newspaper world and found my way into public relations just because I absolutely love telling the stories of the wonderful animals that we have here at the zoo.
Yeah, when we drove up, I looked at the park and I said, oh, we're going to be able to go see all kinds of different things here. I think it's one of the gems of downtown Indianapolis, and it's not very far away from other places. We're coming to you from Hancock County and all around. So what would you say to encourage people from Hancock County or Greenfield or New Pal or Knightstown or any of the surrounding towns to come to Indianapolis and go to the zoo?
Well, we feel that we have an absolutely great location here in downtown Indianapolis. We are in the middle of White River State Park, so there's a lot of beautiful attractions that are just a little bit to our east. And we're actually just a mile from downtown, so it's a great walk. You can bike it if you would like. It's a very pedestrian-friendly city, so there's lots of wonderful ways to access our beautiful campus here at the zoo.
So like what kind of activities and stuff do you have going on about this time of year?
Well, there's going to be a lot of animals that you're going to find outside at this time of year. We've got tigers, polar bears, brown bears, and a whole lot more that absolutely love this little bit colder weather. So maybe, you want to bring a jacket, but you're going to absolutely see a lot of very active animals. And then, of course, we have all of our indoor exhibits as well. We've got our Deserts Dome, the Oceans building that's behind me here. We've got our brand new Simon Scott International Orangutan Center, lots of other indoor attractions as well, so that if it is a little bit chilly, you can run around to some of those outdoor exhibits and then dash inside whenever you want to warm up a little bit.
So you've probably seen everything there is to see here at the zoo, but what do you think are some of the gems that maybe people don't know about that they can take part in?
Well, I think some of the best opportunities that we have for our guests are our animal keeper chats. And those are opportunities for guests to interact with our keeper staff and learn some things that they may not have known about some of their favorite animals. During those chats, you'll see some keepers participating in different activities directly with the animals. And those are other great opportunities to see the animals acting and behaving in ways that you wouldn't see maybe during a normal visit.
The thing I know about the zoo is it's something that you can come to all the time. I know you have memberships and things like that. What can you tell me about the memberships?
Oh, the membership is absolutely the best way to come to the zoo. If you think that you might visit more than twice in a year, it's absolutely the best value because you can come. Your membership is valid for 12 months and it includes lots of different activities, different events that we host throughout the year. And of course, absolutely, you get free access and parking to visit the zoo anytime that you want.
So we know we got church groups, we got school groups. Do you have special programs or rates for churches or schools and other things like that?
Yeah, if you want to come with a group, we have discounted opportunities for groups of 25 or more. So if you have that church group or a school group, any larger groups, we've got great opportunities for savings if they want to come out and enjoy a day of play at the zoo.
So what's your favorite thing about the zoo? What are some of your favorite exhibits?
I have so many favorite exhibits. It really changes throughout the year, but I love our primates. We have a lot of wonderful primate species here. Our gibbons, and then we have our lemurs. They're a whole lot of fun, but absolutely the shining star that we have here is the Simon Scott International Orangutan Center, and that offers guests an opportunity to get up close and personal with 9 orangutans. They're absolutely fascinating, and one of the really interesting things for me is that the orangutans are just as curious about guests as we are about them. So they're going to come up to the glass. They're going to be interacting one-on-one with our guests. You get to see them working on computers with our researchers, which is a really fascinating way to discover more about just how intelligent these creatures are. And then another opportunity that we have that you're not going to see anywhere else, pretty much anywhere in the world, we have an outdoor trail system that we call our Huton Trail. And this takes our orangutans up 70 feet above the zoo grounds. And that's where they live their lives in the wild, is up in the trees in Borneo and Sumatra. So here in downtown Indianapolis, you're going to have an opportunity to watch orangutans swinging up over your head just the way that they would be in the wild.
Yeah, many things going on here at the zoo all the time. I know, how long has the orangutan exhibit been here?
It opened to the public in May of 2014, and it has absolutely been stunning guests absolutely ever since.
Wow. Why do you think a zoo of this type is important to the city of Indianapolis and maybe to the state as a whole?
Well, I think that the best opportunity that we have for our community is to showcase animal conservation in action. All of the species that we have here are ambassadors for the different species and their brethren in the wild. And it offers people ways that they can help to save these species, because many of the animals that you're seeing here, these species are endangered in the wild. And there are easy ways that we can, as people, help these species to thrive in the wild.
So what can people do to support the Indianapolis Zoo?
Well, there are all sorts of wonderful ways. Getting that membership is a great way to help support the zoo. But as one of the largest privately funded zoos in the country, we actually operate solely on donations and fundraising events, on ticket revenues and those memberships. That is what we depend on to continue operating here. So all of those wonderful ways, whether it's just coming out to enjoy a day at the zoo, volunteering perhaps, or giving back with a donation, those are all wonderful ways to support the zoo.
Okay, I'm going to try to think of a question that might stump you. What is the oldest animal here at the zoo?
Oh my gosh, I know we have an African elephant. Her name is Sophie, and I don't know exactly how old she is. I want to say that she's close to 50, maybe in her mid to late 40s. She is definitely one of the elder stateswomen here at the zoo.
Well, it's been great talking to you, Carla, about the things going on here at the zoo, and we're going to go around and see some of these exhibits, and I hear we might be even seen a few penguins or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's wonderful that what you're doing here, to be able to see these animals in Indianapolis. I've lived in Indianapolis my whole life. It's fantastic, and I used to work at the old zoo when I was in college, so to come to this zoo and remember what it was like as a kid in Cub Scouts going to the old zoo and being here is just fantastic, and I think it holds up against any other zoo I've ever been to, so continue the great work.
Oh, thank you.
We're here with the sea lions. What can you tell us about these sea lions?
So behind me we have our two California sea lion pups. These are Holly and Joy. They are rescues. They were found stranded in California. They were rescued by different marine mammal centers and came here to live with the rest of our sea lions in our exhibit here. And they absolutely love interacting with the public. They're very young, very curious, so as you can see, they're adorable. And this is just a behavior that they do naturally. They are very, very curious, especially about shiny objects like these keys that I'm holding. You can see that they'll kind of follow, if you have shiny objects like keys or coins or things like that, they will follow, and it's a lot of fun for the little ones. Even the big kids as well absolutely love interacting with our sea lions.
Okay, we're outside the walrus exhibit. What can you tell us about these two creatures?
Well, we are very fortunate to be one of only a handful of zoos in the country that have Pacific walrus, and we have two beautiful walrus here, Aurora, who is our adult female, and Puckuk, who is a juvenile male. These are incredibly large animals, and even though they are a little bit awkward on the land, they move very gracefully through the water, as you can see.
Now, how old are these creatures?
Well, I don't know exactly. I can tell you that Puckuk is actually a rescue. So he was found in the wild, stranded whenever he was somewhere around 6 to 8 weeks old. So very, very young and too young to survive by himself in the wild.
Is this a popular exhibit?
Oh, this is absolutely a very popular exhibit for us here at the zoo, and you can tell why, because Aurora and Puckuk are very, very curious about our guests. So they'll spend a lot of time up here at the glass interacting with our guests, and they're a big hit.
Where are we at right now?
So this is our tiger forest, and you are looking at one of our Amur tigers. This is a beautiful species, and they are endangered in the wild. So it's a really wonderful opportunity that we have here to educate our guests about this species and some of the struggles that they're facing in the wild. Here in our forests exhibit, you can see not only our tigers, but we have brown bears, we have gibbons, we have red pandas, bald eagles, a lot of other animals as well. And they're just beautiful. I love them all. It's hard for me to give you one that's my favorite.
I'm Dana DeJarnette. I live in McCordsville, Indiana. I have 2 children. I started working from home 1 to 2 days a week because the kids' schedules and getting them off the bus and being able to be here when they get home really helps with a single mom, a single schedule with children who are very active. I need to be able to monitor my day around having my internet. So I recently built the home and moved in about 6 months ago, and one of the deciding factors in moving to this area was being able to be a NineStar customer. My previous provider did not have an option for fiber optics. So if I did not have the reliability that NineStar provides, it would be very hard for me to work from home. When my kids come home from school, and often they'll have a friend come home from school with them, and they rush in and they want to play video games and they want to get on the internet and do certain things that it doesn't affect, because we do have that dedicated line, even if there's 8 children here. Everything is set up, surrounded, so that everybody can be connected. I wanted my children to be able to sit here and do their homework. I wanted them to be able to be talking to me and be around me while I was cooking dinner. Personally, I would never want to give up my Netflix. I had no idea how much of a difference it would make to have fiber optics. It is faster, it is more reliable. It's definitely something I would not want to be without. I would not want to go back to a cable provider, I can tell you that. It's very important. It's very important for us to stay connected however we need to stay connected.
So this is kind of the crowning jewel right now at the Indianapolis Zoo. What can you tell me about it?
This is our Simon Scott International Orangutan Center, and it opened to the public in May of 2014, and it's actually considered to be one of the most significant zoo exhibits anywhere in the world. It was a $30 million exhibit for us, and it offers absolutely unparalleled views of orangutans, whether it's on the ground and up close or up in the sky up above our heads.
Now, you were telling me a little bit about these things up here. What are those up there?
Behind me you see the Huton Trail, and that is how our orangutans are able to move around to the different buildings in this exhibit. Those towers do go up to 70 feet above the ground, and guests who come whenever the weather is a little bit warmer will see our orangutans swinging above their heads. And you know, a lot of guests ask, you know, well, isn't it dangerous for them? But really, this is how orangutans were meant to move around. They are the largest tree-dwelling apes in the world. So this is absolutely how they would spend their days normally, is up hundreds of feet in the air swinging through the trees. And we have recreated that here in Indianapolis with our trail system.
And I noticed you got this little tram system so people can get an up-close and personal look as they ride their tram around and see the whole habitat.
Absolutely. The Skyline ride is a great opportunity for guests to be able to view the orangutans in a very unique way up above the world, just like the orangutans view the world.
So can we go inside and take a look around?
Yes, we sure can.
Now we're inside and we have one of our friends here. Who are we looking at?
This is Kenobi. She is a 36-year-old female orangutan, and you can absolutely tell right away just how curious the orangutans are about people, maybe even more so than we are about them. So Kenobi came right up here and she is checking us out as we are checking her out.
Is this a very popular exhibit here at the zoo? Probably most popular right now.
Absolutely. Since this exhibit opened for us in May of 2014, it has absolutely been one of our most popular exhibits. And it's really easy to see why. The orangutans give such personal attention to our guests. But not only that, there are opportunities for people to watch as our researchers work with our orangutans. That is a fascinating window into just how intelligent these animals are. They are so smart, so curious, and that's why this is one of the most popular exhibits that we have here at the zoo.
I know a lot of your animals are rescue animals, though. What can you say is important about that?
Well, the orangutans that we have here, like many of the animals that we have at the zoo, were born at other zoos and came to us from other zoos, not from the wild. We do have some animals, though, that were rescued, and those are the kind of rare cases where animals come to us from the wild. It's because they have special circumstances where they needed to be rescued. We met Holly and Joy, our California sea lion pups, and they had special circumstances where if they hadn't been rescued, they would not have been able to survive in the wild. We have Puckuk, our walrus, who came to us with exactly the same circumstances. So although most of the animals that we have, a majority really, came to us either from other zoos or were born here, we do have those special exceptions where some animals were rescued.
It is good that you do rescue those animals, because many of those animals would not be able to survive in the wild. So it's good that they can educate us and we can learn about them. What can you tell us about this fantastic habitat?
Well, this is a wonderful opportunity for guests to learn more about orangutans. These animals are critically endangered and may be the first great apes to go extinct if humans don't help out. And it's because mainly they are losing their habitat in the wild in Borneo and Sumatra. So here in this exhibit, guests can take a very real action to help reforest those areas. We have special kiosks where guests are able to, for a very small donation, plant a tree in Borneo, and that's rebuilding the habitat to help these animals survive in the wild.
Well, it's a beautiful habitat, and it's just great that it's here in Indianapolis.
We are so fortunate to have it here, and the community has been so supportive of us whenever we opened this exhibit in 2014. It really has captured the hearts and the minds of the community here.
We're in the penguin habitat with Carrie. What can you tell us about these creatures?
Well, we have 3 species of penguins here. The little ones are the rockhoppers, the medium-sized ones are the gentoos, and we also have 4 king penguins, but they're currently off exhibit right now. They live to be in their late 30s. Our oldest one right now is 29. The youngest one we have was born here about 4 years ago, so he's about 4 years old. And each band that they have represents a different number, and that's how we identify them. If they're banded on their left wing, it's a female. If they're banded on the right wing, it's a male. Each color toggle represents a different number. So let's see, this one right here, she kind of has black and then orange and then purple. That's 148. Each one has different ones, so we memorize which one, and then it's easiest to identify them that way.
So you know the names of all these penguins?
Yes, we have 51 birds total here, so yeah, we know them all.
And you could name all those penguins. That's pretty amazing to me. How popular is this exhibit?
I'd say it's one of the most popular ones. Definitely the most popular one in the building, and everybody seems to love them. You always hear when you're out here, oh my gosh, the penguins, and everybody runs down here. So it's definitely one of the most popular exhibits.
I mean, how are they different than other birds?
Oh, well, they are flightless, but they actually do swim in the water extremely fast. They can get up to like 22, 23 miles an hour. And they act a lot like birds in, the way that they eat and the way they interact with each other. They nest just like other birds do. They are monogamous, but they don't mate for life. They all have, obviously, a lot of feathers. They are not really flippers, that everyone calls them that. They're actually wings.
What got you interested in working with them?
I mean, they're like the cutest animals in the world, but they're really fun. I love the way they interact with each other. They have very distinct personalities, which is really great. And my whole life I knew I wanted to work with marine animals, and penguins are just the most fun. And they're just really sweet and really cute, so it's always fun to work with them.
Where are these penguins originally from, and how cold it is in the habitat?
In the habitat, the water's about 46 degrees and the air is about 36 degrees. They're originally from around the Falkland Islands. All penguins are from the southern hemisphere. The emperor penguins are the ones that are right from Antarctica. We don't have any of those ones, but ours are all from Falkland Islands and northern Antarctica. So it's not super, super cold where they're from, but it is still very cold.
Now, you pointed out earlier that some of them are molting. What is that important to them for?
Well, they need to get rid of their feathers every year, just like the way that snakes get rid of their skin and everything, just to kind of keep it fresh and everything. What's interesting about them is when they molt, they're actually not waterproof anymore. So they will instinctively know not to go in the water when they're molting, because if they do go in the water, they'll actually freeze. So we need to be always making sure we're on the lookout in case one does fall in. We have to pull them off and warm them up a little bit, because they lose all their waterproof feathers when they molt.
Now, I know you say some have been born in captivity, and you were telling me something interesting about the eggs. How do you do that?
Well, each breeding season, which our breeding season starts in October, and usually they lay late October, early November, and then it lasts until mid-January-ish. They pair up, and they usually lay about 2 eggs per couple. And we actually take their real eggs and place them in an incubator to keep them nice and safe and to make sure they don't knock them around or anything. And then we give them wooden eggs so that they are incubating something. What's interesting about especially the gentoos is if they don't have something to incubate, they will just keep laying eggs because they will think that they are supposed to lay eggs. They know it's breeding season, so they'll keep laying. So we have to make sure we give them something so that they are incubating something.
Why do you think penguins are so popular?
Well, they're just so cute, and they are kind of awkward, and just the way that they move on land, the waddles are just so funny. And once you actually know them too, their distinct personalities are it's amazing. Each one, you know their behavior, and you know if they're acting funny just because they really are just like little people.
Why do you think it's important for penguins to be in Indiana?
Well, I think it's important to people to know about them, because if they weren't here, I think a lot of people wouldn't realize, how sweet they are and how cute they are and what they really look like in the wild and everything. And just to make sure that we're aware of penguins and that we're aware of how important it is to keep them alive and keep them safe.
The kids I've come through here in the last 5 or 10 minutes have really enjoyed them. What personal satisfaction do you get out of seeing that?
I mean, it's just so great to see people taking pride in what you do and the animals that I look after, and knowing that everyone gets excited about these animals. I love how much people love them. My nieces absolutely love the penguins, and they're so excited that I work with them. So I love that everyone loves my animals. It's great.
Do you work with any other animals here at the zoo?
I work with everything in the building. So mainly I work with the penguins and the jellyfish and the sharks and the stingrays. That's mainly me, but we work with everything here. There's 4 aquarists that primarily are in this building, and we work with everything in the building.
Well, I applaud your efforts in conservation and in presenting this to to me. I've enjoyed it. I've been here about 15 minutes, and they're fabulous.
Good. I'm glad you like it. I definitely love them. So yeah, they're great.
Well, Carla, thanks for having us out to the Indianapolis Zoo. We're out here by the polar bear exhibit, kind of where we started our trip. We've been all over the place. We've seen so many things. We couldn't even put them all in this show. What would you say to people to get them to come out and let them know that the zoo's here all the time?
Well, absolutely, you're right. You know, there is something going on at the zoo all year round. And one of the things that I think is unique is that because we have live animals here, every time you visit the zoo, you're going to see something new, something different. Our collection is growing, they're changing. So each and every time that you're coming, you're going to see something that you've never seen before.
So if people have questions, can they go to our website?
Sure, you can visit our website at indianapoliszoo.com. It's a great place to plan your visit, buy tickets, and find out a whole lot more.
Well, thanks, Carla. Thanks for taking us on the tour. You've been fantastic.
Thank you.